this video, I'm doing this video, this part of the video, because of a comment. Yalad Al commented, "We've gone cashes here in Nigeria. Shalom to the saints of Nigeria." So this brother, this individual's from Nigeria. We've gone cashes here in Nigeria right now. So I'm assuming he's actually in Nigeria temporarily, at least for the last 2 months. It would return back probably with the coming months, but they are prepping us. It might not never come back. So what I did was cash is here in Nigeria, and I can be here for the next 3 hours. It says, and we know the precepts already. It says, watch impact of cashless policy on Nigerians. As of 1 month ago, African countries advised to build efficient cashless policy payment system. Most of the payments that I make is cashless.
Shalom, shalom. All praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahawashai, Ba'asham Rachak Wedash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of the Great Stone, and salutations to all you sincere. And once again, this is your brother Abawan coming back with another video. And what I'll be doing is I'll respond to the Apostle Taha's video. Okay, going into these other camps, they are going to have to explain this prophecy, and the prophecy basically is the MOTB. Because the major thing with these other camps, and something they are saying with these other camps, they'll come out, they'll say that, oh well, the mark of the beast is sin, the mark of the beast is hegemony, the mark of the beast is sleeping with white women, the mark of the beast is the image of Cesare Borgia. They will bring out all these different ideas or philosophies or doctrines, doctrines about what the mark of the beast actually is. But then when it comes down to explaining why they say the MOTB is not the RFID microchip, right? But it's whatever they say it is. That is where the problem now comes in. They can't explain their point properly. When you ask them, how can you buy or sell with hegemony? How can you buy or sell with the image of Cesare Borgia? How can you buy or sell with sin? How can you buy or sell using sleeping with white women? And these other camps, they go silent when they go into the breakdown for the MOTB, Revelation 13, from the 15th verse on down to the 17th or 18th verse. They go silent. They can't break that down as well, and they can't relate, right, their doctrine with that scripture. So when the Apostle Taha asked this question, this is a question that all the men of Great Millstone are asking these other camps consistently. How can you explain this prophecy? How can you break down this prophecy? You are seeing, the RFID microchip becoming the MOTB real time right before your eyes. But yet, these other camps will still have you believe that it has to be something else. It has to be something else. Whereas, it's basically, at this point, when it's basically a rite of passage in this truth, that brothers will go into a deep dive into what makes the MOTB the MOTB, right? You break down the charagma, you break down the actual root word of the mark, which is charagma, which means what an engraving instrument, basically the delivery system, which the MOTB will be used to be put into your right hand or your forehead, okay? But the main point I actually wanted to get from this video, because the Apostle Taha was going into it as usual, but the main point I actually wanted to talk about a little bit was the cashless policy that was implemented right here in Nigeria, and apparently, there's another brother here in Nigeria as well that is into the truth, he was and he put a comment in the Apostle Taha's video telling him about all the situation here in Nigeria, which I've been going into for months now in various videos. And I even did another video going into the exact same thing, right? I believe I call that the left hand is moving, because basically what you see happening right now in Nigeria, and let me just quickly get this, okay? Let me just quickly do this. I want this video to be landscape. Let me see whether have I can do that right now with the so I'm trying to flip it is not working. So the landscape is not working. The landscape is not working. So basically I'm just going to go to one of my videos. Okay, here it is. Here it is. Okay, it's now working. So as I was saying, I'm just going to go into one of my videos. The videos that I did, here it is, the left hand is stretched out. And basically what I did in that video, I spoke about the current situation of the quote unquote cashless policy, because that's what it really is. But what the government of Nigeria is doing is that they are hiding the cashless policy behind something called the Naira redesign policy. And basically what you see or what is happening is that the Nigerian government is claiming that they want to change the currency, okay, the appearance, the look of the currency. Let me see whether I can go into like I don't want to go into some videos, so I'll just go into some articles that are talking about that. So I have to go to the browser. Bear with me for a second, but that's the KJV I opened. That's habit right there. But let me go into the browser and see whether I can get this information, okay? And that is the Naira redesign. I've already done a video on this before, but just to bring it back to remembrance, because we know how it is with our people with our short attention span. Jake isn't going to go and look at my old videos to get this information anymore. So basically, what's happened is that the Nigerian government decided to change the appearance of the 200, 500, and 1,000 naira notes, which are the three largest denomination of notes in our country. Okay, and with that, they had all kinds of excuses for the reason why they did so. Oh, well, we're trying to curb corruption. We're trying to stop vote buying because this was actually done before the elections, and I'm being blocked from accessing this site. So let me try another one. Just select here. Let me see if I can go get some articles in the news. Let me use this one. So basically, back to what I was saying. Okay, and this is this right here. The old naira notes on the left, the new naira notes on the right, and basically using the disguise of we're changing the naira notes. They have now pushed this cashless policy, or rather forced it on the people, and this is how Esau Edom is pushing this cashless in this country. And who knows if he will carry this model and move it into other third world countries as well. Because I can very well see Esau Edom using the exact same format of basically forcing the people to turn to cashless as a way to make their transactions in order to further, because you should already know the reason why this cashless policy is being pushed and forced all around the world so heavily by Esau Edom. So basically, the way to force this country into cashless is by the disguise of changing the currency. Because with the changing of the currency, okay, and the changing of the currency, illegalizing the old naira notes and forcing everybody to use the new naira notes, which of course they've already overturned that as well. But the main point being, by changing the currency, they now they stopped now you have it where even the new notes are no longer being printed at the same rate in which they were in the past. You have the bank shutting down, basically no cash in the ATM, because what you have right now in Nigeria is, even though they changed the notes, right, they are not printing currency anymore. Whatever excuse they want to use in order to promote this cashless agenda. So there's no money in the banks, no fiat currency in the banks. So there's no fiat currency dispensing in the bank. The banks aren't putting any money in the ATMs. You also can't withdraw cash out of the banks. And even when you can, because I was speaking to somebody today and he said that the limit per day was 20,000. So even if you can go to the bank to withdraw, the banks that actually have cash in them to withdraw from, the highest you can withdraw, your limit per day is 20,000 as an individual, and I believe like 100 or 500,000 as a company. So that's what is going on right now. So now they are forcing the people, okay, to use cashless solutions that's um, you know POS POS that's POS, that's point of sales, whether it's what they call it again, bank transfers, so on and so forth. And that made me think of this preset right here, because we're already in those times, and this is just the precursor, okay, a precursor to Jacob's trouble that is coming upon our people. So this is the book of Revelation 12, verse 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And because these devils are seeing that time is running out for them, they are now going to, or resorting to force now to push their wicked agenda and their policies on the earth, which is why you see this, heavy push for cashless, especially here in Nigeria. The bank just completely shut down. The central bank, it is even unclear whether they're actually still printing cash or not, because basically what you had happening during the beginning of this year was that there was no cash at all in these banks. All the banks had to close down because they were unable to they were unable to dispense cash or give out cash to the people. It got so bad, man, that all kinds of things was happening. I actually put out a video about what was going on in these banks. People were basically destroying, people were vandalizing and destroying the banks. And the actual banks that did operate, they had people coming in there, taking off all their clothes, going completely naked, okay, and refused to leave the bank, exit the bank, or put on their clothes back until they received cash. And that was how desperate for money people were, in the beginning of this year, okay. But their agenda had gone forth, and I still can't stress this enough. All this was done to push the cashless agenda on the people, okay, and that's you people of Nigeria. And all of this was for the sake of what? The MOTB. Because what this is, and I always stress on this in a lot of my videos, gradualism, which is what Esau Edom is a master of, okay? The slow process to first desensitize you to an idea and then slowly introduce it into your life to the point where you can't even exist without, having this. And basically what Esau Edom is doing is that he is slowly, you know, what's what I'm looking for? Phasing out fiat currency, paper currency from from his kingdom, from this society, okay, to the point where everybody has to adopt the cashless. And if you can't follow that same format, right, the same if you can't adopt the cashless policy, basically, man, you're going to starve out. So of course all the people will be forced to follow and adopt this cashless policy, especially with the lack of cash right now in Nigeria, man. No currency at all, no paper currency. All the money is in the banks, but you can't even get it out. And what this past few months is showing you is just how little control you have over these banks, okay. What I really wanted to say, so like what meant to say is just showing you that even this money that you have, this quote unquote fiat currency, right? You see Jake out here in the world killing themselves, throwing their life away for riches. But what this whole cashless institution and the situation with the banks, even in America as well, with is it Chase with Chase Bank? I've forgotten the exact name of the bank, and the Silicon Valley Bank, and even all the banks in Nigeria. What is showing is that the cash that you have in these banks, it is not your money. Okay, as soon as you deposit that cash into these banks, it's no longer your money. Hell, even the fiat currency, the bills in your hand, it's not even your money either. Okay, all they are Federal Reserve notes, and the government can at any time decide that they are no longer using these notes as money. It's no longer money. You can no longer use it for the purchase of goods and services, and all they become is a piece of paper. You don't even need to wait for hyperinflation before this currency becomes worthless. The government can just decide at any moment that this currency is worthless, and it becomes worthless. If the US decides tomorrow that they are no longer using the dollar for trading, just like that, under a day, the dollar becomes completely useless. Okay. And this is the what Esau Edom is pushing towards right now. He's trying to eliminate this paper currency and move to digital currency, which is why you have these CBDCs being pushed. And that's still in the back burner, it's still in the background, waiting to be brought out and waiting for the people to start using it as well. Because, it could come to pass that this e-naira, which is the CBDC we have here in Nigeria, could could turn into the more the better alternative for the regular paper currency, and people will start adopting that. And like I said, all of this whole cashless policy, the real reason why it is happening, do not be ignorant, okay, as it is written, for we are not ignorant of Satan's devices. So do not be ignorant and understand why these things are happening. The reason why this cashless you know push, okay, is happening, the reason why you see this government pushing so heavily for cashless, why there is no paper currency in circulation right now, is for the sake of the MOTB, okay, in order to push the MOTB, the mark of the beast on the earth, as a solution for all your transactions, right? If you go to the book of Revelation 13, verse 16, it clearly tells you that one of the primary purposes for that MOTB is so that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name or the number of the beast. In other words, without that MOTB, transactions will be impossible for you. So no buying or selling of not just products and goods. So it doesn't just mean that, oh well, because you ain't got the MOTB, you can no longer buy yourself, Cheetos or cereal, or go to the grocery store and buy things anymore. It also includes services as well. So you can no longer pay for subscriptions for all your different streaming services. You get an order from you order from Amazon, you can't pay that no more. You need a plumber to come in and fix the pipes in your house, you can't pay for that anymore. And basically, without that MOTB, and I'm talking about day-to-day transactions, okay, when you are unable to make simple transactions, you realize just how much or how many things you needed money for. Okay, without the MOTB, you will be unable to function in this kingdom. You can't get healthcare no more either. That costs money, right? You can't, I'm just thinking of all the other various things that you can't do anymore. You can't send your kids to school anymore. That costs money as well. You can't even work, okay, because that requires you to have an account in which they can pay the approved government digital currency at the time into your C-HIP. So you can't even get a job. You cannot function in this kingdom without without the use of these transactions. And basically, what Esau Edom has done is made money, a middleman in every activity in this kingdom, okay? And by controlling that middleman, he controls every single thing that happens in this kingdom. Which is why you see, these people out here, man, they are ready for the C-HIP. Because as soon as, you are unable to go to the banks and get this fiat currency, this paper currency, you start looking for the next best solution, which is going into the cashless, right? Now you're trying to do transfers with your banks, are trying to find them POSs, right? That's what we call them. Basically, the credit card payments, because we don't use credit card here in Nigeria, we use debit. You're trying to find debits, the debit card POSs, how to use to pay for all the things that all the goods and services, okay. And basically, then I know when the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushai was faithful during this time period, because Lord knows the hell that I caught because of this situation, okay. But the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushai took care of me, so everything went smoothly, and everything is still going great until now. Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. But the point being is that the situation here in Nigeria, just showing you that once again, when we study that Esau Edom is in control of everything that is going on the earth, this is proof of it, because it's these devils that are pushing this cashless, okay, and they are using, the Nigerian government as their puppets, okay, the CBN, which is a branch of the Federal Reserve, as their puppets. And I've already said all this before, but we are still speaking about it. And they're using all of this as their, they're using all of this as their purpose in order to push their new world order, okay? And with that, that's going into the book of Habakkuk, the second chapter. So this is the book of Habakkuk 2 verse 4. Behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. And this is what Esau Edom wants to do, gathering all the nations and all people, and not because of a good cause or a righteous cause, but because of his greed. As it is written, and we just read that he is as death but cannot be satisfied. So until he is in complete control over all the people, because that is ultimately what this whole NWO Great Reset, whatever terminology you want to use, is for. Okay, Second Thessalonians, the third chapter, so that this devil will take this throne of the Most High, showing himself as the Most High, right? Let me get that precept as well, because this is ultimately an insight into the final plan, the true agenda of Esau Edom. Why is it they are pushing this cashless so heavily on the earth in order to push the mark of the beast, the MOT, which is the RFID microchip? Why do they want to push the RFID microchip so strongly? So that they can be exactly like the Most High. Because ultimately, Esau's end goal is that his God complex. He wants to be like the Most High, not just about reclaiming his lost birthright, okay, or getting his blessings, or getting, his blessings on this side. But what he really wants is the seat, okay, the power and the authority of the Most High Yahweh. So now, Second Thessalonians 2 verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin, the son of perdition, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, all that is worshipped, so that he as God, seated in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. And this is exactly what Esau Edom has done. Because the pride and the megalomania, okay, of these devils cannot even be, cannot be understated. In fact, it is incomparable if you want to compare with the other nations. This is the ultimate plan, the ultimate agenda for Esau Edom. And I'm a little bit skeptical, worried about reading, going into the, the prophecies concerning the MOTB. But of course, at this point, you should already know about all these prophecies, and this is what is happening on the earth right now. So don't be surprised, if by next 2 months or next 3 months, or hell, even next month, Lord willing, you start hearing about how they have started building sea stations here in Nigeria, right? Or you hear about how Nigeria is Africa's first country to go completely cashless, because ultimately this is the plan of Esau Edom, right? By forcing the people, you know, forcing you into that cashless way, forcing you into the MOTB as well, because that is ultimately where it will end up at. So with that, I'll end the video right there. All praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham Racha Kwadash, Wa Abad Babal, and through the Spirit, I hope you Akim and you are quite edified. Shalom.